What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the challenge. Today, I have a very special guest with us today, Anna, or Anna. I'm sorry, I didn't ask how
Anna.
to pronounce Anna. Yeah, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me on this call today. I'm super excited to connect and see whatever wants to flow through today in our conversation.
Yeah,
And so, this is definitely a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and it's been part of my journey for a very long time. So, I'm really excited to see what we can create today. And to share a little bit more about myself, my name is Anna Frolik, and I've been an entrepreneur for almost 11 years now. I've done a lot of things over the years. I started as a copywriter and content editor. I was actually in the advertising industry before I got started as an entrepreneur. So I just turned that into my own business.
awesome.
Then about a year later, I started feeling that there was something else. Well, I kind of hit a wall, even though everything was going great in my business, but there was just something that was missing. And that was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. Um, and it's a long story, so I'm going to try to keep it short, but that's basically when I got started as an intuitive. I started working with the angels and started exploring those realms more. I started doing intuitive healing work and readings and that kind of thing. And then completely changed my life, moved from Europe to, well, Canada while traveling in between, journey into the unknown. Um, and more recently, well, I was in the coaching world for a little while, starting in 2015. And that was always a little bit of a, I guess, a difficult journey for me. I was searching for something, but somehow I thought that I was going to find it there, in the coaching world, but something always felt off and something was always missing. Um, and I just started becoming more and more disconnected from myself and my purpose and my inner guidance also around what I was, really feeling called to create. And so last year I just had to make a decision about, how to move forward, because I was kind of starting to feel that pressure, financially too. It's like, okay, now I just got to make a decision. This is not working anymore. So um, I surrendered everything. And what happened was that I started getting like really clear signs, people reaching out to me for certain kinds of services, mostly in the creative area. And every time my heart just felt so much joy and excitement. And I knew,
Yeah.
okay, there's something there. And so I just completely opened myself to something new. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to go back to creative services. I thought I was maybe going to do web design mostly for a while, but the service that actually really spoke to my people was helping them design their own Oracle card decks.
Awesome.
And so that's what I've been doing for the past year, and just really, living it more than teaching at the moment, kind of working my magic on myself. But it's been so beautiful to see that it all actually really works, and
Yeah.
how it works, and kind of refining everything and discovering new ways of doing things and new tools. And so that's kind of been the journey, kind of, doing it, doing the work, and just being fully immersed in the journey, doing the creative
Mm.
work mostly for my clients. Um, and I do some readings on the side too, and other things. But so it's been very much a personal journey with the shadow work and the trauma healing and all that in the past year. But it's been super, super effective. So I'm very excited to share a bit more today.
Yes, I love that so much. I think you're a perfect example of someone who really hit that point, like you said, hit that wall and decided, hey, I'm just going to surrender and I'm going to trust in my faith and my knowing that there's a vision out there that's possibly bigger than I'm, capable or currently able to see, especially at that point you said in your coaching career when you felt like maybe it wasn't quite right, then you started to lean more into your creative pursuits, and that actually ended up working out a lot better for you, is what it sounds like. So I would love to hear a little bit more about your story, about when you got to that point, and maybe a short story about a big experience or big breakthrough for you when you did that inner child work or that subconscious reprogramming work that really allowed you to catapult into this whole new direction.
I would say the transformation really began in 2017. I had actually reached a point in my coaching business where I had had some pretty big breakthroughs and had reached some milestones and a certain level of success that I had been working towards. But it all just felt like a lot of hard work. And every time I kind of reached a certain level of success, everything always felt kind of off. And then I was kind of searching for the next thing. But then what happened was I just felt complete inner emptiness. Like it was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I didn't know what to do. But what I realized was that I'd become so disconnected from my inner voice, and especially the feeling, the feeling part of really accessing my inner wisdom.
Yes.
And that had actually started earlier on my journey when I had been, I was going through a lot of transformation in my life and doing a lot of healing in the area of my relationships. And when I came back to Canada, especially, a lot of my old childhood trauma got triggered. And I, in a way, I worked through it, but I also got re-traumatized. And so I was kind of stuck in that loop. I started disconnecting from my emotions, and then that led to the next thing. Well, I started disconnecting from my emotions and my inner guidance and my business too. And everything was just kind of messed up for a while. But I see that it, was all part of the journey. But in 2017, after I hit that wall in my business where everything was just starting to feel so empty, that's when I started really reconnecting, rather than hiring another coach who would then just confuse me even more because I couldn't access my own inner wisdom.
Wow.
I really started paying attention to just, very simple in the beginning. What am I feeling in my body, and just trusting that rather than trying to figure it out or questioning it with my mind. And that's kind of how it started. And then one step at a time, I started reconnecting.
Yeah. I love that so much, because that's like the whole point of this whole challenge. And it's just that simple reminder that simple act of going within and coming back to yourself and realizing it doesn't have to be hard. We a lot of us, rather, probably a lot of people watching this can relate with hustling and trying hard and putting their best foot forward, and then getting to this point where you still feel unfulfilled and you're like, what's going on? And I like to argue that maybe if you're not taking that time for yourself to take that really deep look within and say, like, what's in resonance for me, what's alive. And I'm just really excited to hear a little bit more about that process. Could you take us to the part where you started to, like you said in the sheet you sent me, find your voice as a leader and find that new sense of purpose? Like, what did that look like for you? Who were you inspired by? And it's kind of a long question, but what activated that within you, do you think?
What activated it was just hitting the point where I was so stuck in that crisis. And also, I think where I got to the point where I really saw, like, on a very physical level, okay, now I have to do something, because for a long time I was kind of stuck in this place where I had a certain amount of savings, and so I didn't have the urgency to really really go that deep. Like, I kept searching in my mind, and I wasn't connected enough to the physical aspect of everything to really have that urgency to make a decision. And I think when I got to that point, things really started feeling real, and it was actually really liberating. It's just, okay, now I have to make a decision. I'm just going to stop trying to force something that's just not working, that's not feeling good. And I'm just going to fully open up and trust that, you know, whatever happens, like I opened myself up to all the possibilities. And I was even considering just getting a job for a while. I didn't have to in the end, but just to fully free myself from the pressure. And I think if there was somebody who inspired me at that time, I had a breakthrough moment when I picked up a book by Eckhart Tolle, The New Earth. It's a book that I've had for quite a while. And so I just opened a chapter there about finding your purpose. I don't remember exactly, you know, the wording of everything, but something just clicked. I think it was the realization that actually there is nothing I need to be afraid of. I'm taken care of. I don't need to worry about anything. I don't need to figure it out. And, you know, whatever, no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. You know, I'm not going to die. I'm going to be taken care of. And whatever is happening in the physical doesn't really say anything about me, you know, my worth as a person. And this is just part of my very own spiritual journey. There's more to it than just what's happening here in the physical. Or, you know, what's being expected of me even by society. It's just that complete moment of liberation where everything changed. And then I was able to let go of the fear, and then everything just opened up.
That is so powerful. I love that so much. Wow, so inspiring. Oh, I mean, yeah, I can totally relate to that on so many levels. Just getting to that point where, even for me, I, like you said about the dying part, I got to a point where I was like, either I'm gonna die or this is gonna work out. Like it's really that simple. So I was like, and even if I do die, then I don't have to worry about this working out anyway. So it's like, it's a win-win regardless. And yeah, not to minimize anyone's situation or anything, but that's just how I decided to perceive these lessons, these growth experiences, these challenges that really stretch us as spiritual beings, really stretch our faith and our willingness to surrender, willingness to believe in and actually take action towards these larger than life visions that we have. And I think I know I'm so excited to be talking to you about this, because it really sounds like once you're able to, you know, get over your own inner bullshit, for lack of better words, and to expand upon that vision, I would just lastly like to hear a little bit more about your current project, and, you know, how you know, doing that creative work for you has maybe led to more fulfillment, more joy, more income. I saw a lot of positive things on the sheet that you sent me, so I would love to just share that a little bit more with the audience, to show them, you know, what's possible. If you can do it, if I can do it, anyone watching this can do it.
I would definitely say this entire past year has been extremely transformational for me on so many levels. I mean, just embarking on this new journey in my business was just the beginning of it, and everything else followed. But the first thing I noticed right away is that everything was just feeling so much easier. I didn't really have to worry about making things happen anymore. I really surrendered to this degree that, you know, like one thing I also started exploring last year was human design, but I actually started implementing my strategy correctly before I even knew anything about it. And so the correct way for me to create and manifest is actually, you know, be much more in my receptive space and not pushing at all. As a generator and like 1-3 generator, I'm just like, you know, I have to be like fully surrendered to the journey, and it's okay to, you know, flow with the changes. But so I just started being in my magnetic space much more. So opportunities just started coming very naturally without me even needing to worry at all about how to make it happen. Like, and it's just continued in the same way at this point. Like, I don't have to advertise even, like clients just come to me. I don't have to worry about, how to make the money for my next month's rent. Everything just comes. That's just been my
Wow.
experience for the last year, and it's just gotten easier and easier.
Wow.
And other than that, has been a lot of change in my relationships too. I actually left a relationship back in February. That was also kind of part of this journey where I was just not really listening to my inner guidance, and I was, I had to be in that relationship for a while as part of my journey too, but I had known for a while already that I needed to allow change there as well. And so there has just been a lot of growth in the sense that I've really reconnected with my truth. I've allowed myself to speak my truth more, and also that's still very much part of my process right now, just really addressing all the trauma that led to everything, just going deeper, just really opening my heart and not being so afraid to really connect with people on a deeper level.
Wow.
I mean, that's I'm still working on that. It's not an easy journey, but there has been a lot of beautiful change there as well. Really connecting with new people, deepening friendships, and just connecting in a way that I hadn't been able to in a very long time.
Wow.
And I see it across the board with clients, easily attracting clients I just really love working with, rather than just kind of struggling to,
Yes.
please everybody. And same thing, I think, in friendships, just really opening up more. And
That's so cool.
There's been a lot of healing there as well. So that's really beautiful.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. There's one thing that you said that really inspired me. You said to allow change, and I think that's so powerful. It sounds, once again, something that's really simple, that it's really difficult for a lot of us. Life is constantly evolving, life is constantly changing, and I like to say that a lot of us are running around just as little kids in adult bodies, and it happens because of these experiences, these traumas that maybe you didn't address. You didn't allow your subconscious mind to catch up with, hey, like, there's so much more available, so much more magnetism and attraction like available to you now, if you just drop your walls, if you just, and like, as I'm going through this process myself as well each and every day, but there's this point where you start to just pick up momentum, and each and every day is more peeling of the layers, more positive momentum. And yeah, that's just so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing that. So my final question for you would be, if this was like your last day on earth, what's your message that you would shoot out to off the rooftops?
Okay, last day on earth, hard to imagine, but I'm gonna do my best. So the first thing that comes to mind is trust. Really trust that you are supported, that you are enough. You don't really have to do anything to deserve living a happy life, to deserve being fulfilled, to deserve living in abundance, to deserve, really living your purpose and having the most amazing relationships in your life. You really deserve to have it all, just for being who you are.
Wow.
And just for existing, really.
Yes,
because you're so loved, and it's sometimes so hard for us to really embrace that and believe and trust, but just keep coming back to trust, and don't be afraid. Just allow life to show you, give you the proof. But often it's believing is seeing more than the other way around. So
I love that
just
so much.
Take the next step and trust that the universe always has your back. Life always has your back.
Wow, I love that so much. You actually just took me back to a moment on my drive yesterday where I was just sitting here kind of in this open, receptive state, and I heard a voice tell me, as long as you're breathing, as long as you're alive, as long as you planted on this earth, you're supported. You're good. No need to stress.
Absolutely.
And the times where we're not experiencing that is when we're self-sabotaging and we're putting ourselves in situations and circumstances where we're actually blocking ourselves off from that abundance. So I think that the last thing I want to say is, if anyone got anything from this message or this call, it's like, really go within, because you have the answers waiting for you right there, and just take it one day at a time. It doesn't have to be a long, I mean, it is a long process, right? Like, it doesn't have to be instantaneous. It's something that, it's a daily choice to show up in this energy. It's a daily decision to choose to and acknowledge and believe and have faith that things are always working out in your favor. So yeah, I could talk about this all day. But yeah, so how can we get in touch with you? If maybe someone wants to create an Oracle card deck, how can we stay connected and involved?
Okay, so first of all, I would say my two websites, wonderlandpublishing.net is my website for everything creative, my creative services mostly, and also my own Oracle card decks that I'm selling there. And you can also book readings through that website. And then everything else is on annafrolik.com. You can also find some information about the creative services there, but that one's a bit more, let's say, under construction. You can't really see it, but it's going to need a makeover. So, but either way, you can get in touch with me through my websites. There's a lot of great information on both of these. Then Facebook is always great too. Just find me under Anna Frolik and shoot me a message. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. It was a great conversation.
Yes, I loved it so much. All right.